Welcome to part 9 of my series on how to make an Orrery solar system model. In this video, we'll be looking at making orbital rods and the support clamps that clamp it to the center of the Orrery. With the completion of the sun, I'm ready to move on to making some clamps that will support the orbital rods that extend out to the planets. A notch will be cut into each one. A small metal clip will be on the opposite side that will clamp it in place. I have to fabricate 6 clamps and 6 clips. And we have our clip. The clamp base is done. You can see that's going to mount this way. I need to notch this. First notch pieces are drilled. So next up, we're going to take the 9/32 inch end mill and we're going to mill our notch back probably about 1/8 of an inch. So here's our piece. These are completed. What I'm going to do, drill and tap that hole through the 1/4 inch ends. That'll take a number 632 screw. First one's done. Put them all on and see what they look like. My plan, take some of this 1/4 inch rod, drill it down the center on the lathe, and tap that out to a 632 screw size, then cut that off and make my own smaller neural rod. Clamps are done. I also made 6 knurled nuts for holding them together. These flopping down like that cause a problem. So what I want to do is solder a piece of this brass plate over the top of that hole. And I'll re-drill that hole in each one. And then this will get bent in an L shape. Okay, so that one's soldered. No. We have a little clip. Now you can see when it's sitting sideways, it doesn't drop down all the way, especially when I get it close enough. So one clip is completely done. So they're all temporarily mounted. I do have to take them all off now because each one has to get a hole drilled down the center of it. They will have the orbital shafts extending out of them. Right. So our shaft goes in there. I'm going to go back about 1/8 of an inch and put a hole in there for a set screw. So we have our tapped hole. Now we're going to chuck this back up in the lathe and turn this down all the way across. All the pieces are all turned down, so the clamps are ready to reconstruct. I've completed and mounted all the clamps for the planet orbital rods. I now have to make the orbital rods, and I'm going to make them from these 1/8 inch brass tubing. You can see how long the radius needs to be. That is the distance from the center of the notch out to the end of the rod for each planet. And I've kept all these ratios the same as what it is for the actual planets in our solar system. What we need to do now is start cutting pieces to those lengths. I have all of the orbital rods cut and inserted into their planet clamp. Now I need to make elbows. There'll be an elbow here that goes up, that puts a vertical shaft going upward to the planet. To do this, I came up with this concept. Now this is a short piece of 1/8 inch tube. Then I took a brass rod and cut that to 3/4 of an inch long. I drilled a hole in the top of it, and then a 1/8 inch hole into the side. This piece is getting soldered in like that. That will be inserted into the clamp. I bored out a hole that I can slide the 3/32 inch tubing that'll support the planets into. So at the end of each one of the orbital rods is going to be one of these. Now for the rest of the elbows. I need to cut those from this 3/16 inch rod. All 6 elbow pieces are now drilled at the end. Now they all need a hole cut in, similar to this one. Those holes get drilled next. We're ready to start soldering the elbows to the planet orbital rods. Well, we're all soldered. I'm going to shine them up a little bit. All the planet rods are mounted. All that's left is to cut each planet rod to the right length and make a small planet to go on the end of it, and this orrery will be done. For more details on attaching the planet orbital rods to the orrery, go to the website on the screen, or just check out jeffreysoderman.com and go to the Orrery 2 link.